Okay, well, I will go ahead and start the presentation and introduce myself. I'll be talking about the graffiti cleanup. We've done 3 different areas, a couple of them multiple times. I'd like to introduce myself. I'm Richard Gonsalves, and I grew up in Snowflake. And I used to go out looking at petroglyphs, especially in the 10-mile area. And so that area has always been something interesting to me, and I've wanted to preserve it. I got into photography, and I got worried about the petroglyphs and with the graffiti, and so I started taking pictures of the petroglyphs to preserve them. And I ended up teaching Photoshop at Northland Pioneer College. And I had a student come in, Ralph Kurtzel. And while I was helping him with Photoshop, I ended up showing him one of the calendars that I made, showing the petroglyphs. And he looked at that and he says, I know where every one of these are. And I said, oh, bull, you do. So he thumbed through it and he come up with this picture here. And he says, I know where that is. Oh, bull, you do. I thought I was the only one in the world that knew where this one was. It was out in the middle of nowhere. And I found it accidentally. And he looks at it and he says, that one's in Payson, just outside of Payson. He blew my mind. So we became very good friends, and he was the president of the archaeological club here in Heber Overgaard. And later he wanted to retire. And so he asked me to be the president, and I told him no. I don't have any experience with archaeology, and I can't be the president. So anyway, he made me president anyway. And I've enjoyed it ever since. And then David Lehan was a guy in Snowflake. He wanted to do some cleanup out at 5 Mile. And he started asking questions. Who knows how to clean up? And we ended up getting Evelyn Billows and Robert Mark from Flagstaff. They came down and showed him what to use and how to do it. And then we set up another cleanup time, and we started that. And so we've done 3 of them. The first one, I thought it was just a one-time deal. We'd clean up 5 Mile and be done. It was going to be just a small thing. Well, it's turned out to be now. We're doing quite a bit of it. And the 5 Mile, I didn't have pictures of it, so I won't start with that one. The cleanup at Canyonito, I decided I'm going to record what we're doing and have pictures of it. But it's the Woodruff Dam that I really took some good pictures, and I'm going to start with that one because it won't bore you as much as the others, since I don't have pictures of the other ones. So, graffiti cleanup. Graffiti, litter, and vandalism destroys the beauty of the outdoors. A small group of concerned citizens are trying to clean up our environment and restore the natural beauty. I'm going to start with the Woodruff cleanup, like I said, because I took most of the pictures there and have something to actually show off. Okay, here we're starting. It's the cleanup is just off to the left here. I made a sign so people can find the place and come and help us. David Lehan got a hold of the bishop in Woodruff, and he advertised it and gave us permission to come and clean up. And he brought us about 30 people. So we had a large group, and it's a very large project, and we needed every one of them. And this is what it looked like when we first got there. This is the spillway. The dam itself is right here. You can't really see it in this picture, but it's on the back side of it. And so standing on over there by that panel, I turned around and got a picture of the other side of the spillway. And you see David unloading a porta potty and his great big water container. We had to run a garden hose from there all the way over to get water to his pump. The dam is off to the left here. This is just on the other side of the dam. And it has some waterfalls. The local farmers in Woodruff needed to get the water high enough. And there's a ditch right here, and you can see one of the diversions for the ditch. Well, they wanted to get the water high enough that they could put it in a ditch to take it to Woodruff and water their fields. They had to get the water up higher than the bottom of the canyon. And so that's why they built the dam. But it immediately silted in, which doesn't hurt anything. The water still goes up and gets into the ditch. But there was some graffiti over there too. It's the natural beauty is the graffiti just takes away from the natural beauty. So we set up a command station, and when some of the people came over, the bishop wanted to say a little prayer. And some of the people that didn't actually help clean the graffiti brought cookies and drinks and stuff. So it was a very nice community activity. And the scope of the graffiti, I mean, this is a great big panel. I mean, it takes a lot of elephant snot as the paint remover. It's a specially formulated chemical that doesn't hurt the surface of the rocks. It'll take the paint off, but not damage the rocks, which, of course, we're all interested in the petroglyphs and the patina of the rocks and stuff, and you definitely don't want to damage it by using just any old paint remover. And you see, we've got quite a few people out there working on it. And we had so many that could put the elephant snot on, and that freed David up to use his power washer. You can see the garden hose bringing water over from that tank. And while everybody else is putting elephant snot on, David is going behind them and starting to pressure wash the paint off. And it's a long, hard process. Some of the paint comes off very easily, and sometimes we've had to do this process 2 and 3 times to get all of the paint off. Now this is on the other side, and they brought on all kinds of colors, have some fancy stuff. You can see this panel here. It just goes all the way back to that car back here in the background. I mean, the whole panel just looks like this. And they didn't just accidentally get some paint on. They brought multiple colors. This one was one that they just spent a lot of time on. Lots of different paints, a lot of layers of paints. And as you're pressure washing something like this off, the water starts out kind of white as it hits, and each color as it comes off will be stain the water a different color. And as you're pressure washing one area, the paint can change and you'll get different colors as it goes down through the different layers. I thought that was very interesting. When I first saw that, is what the heck's going on? Well, it took the paint off a layer at a time. And they didn't just put it on the walls. You can see they were down here on these rocks. They just graffiti everywhere. And it took a lot of time and a lot of elephant snot to get all of the paint off. These are, some of them kind of look nice, but then there's parts that are just as ugly could be. Why they would even put some of this stuff on there, I have no idea. But it's just pure ugly.
Just like those people that were carving their names in the columns at the Coliseum. Yeah.
Yeah, well,
I know.
these aren't, well, some of them have their names, and there's a few, somebody plus somebody else, but most of them is just plain stupidity. And,
those people are.
well, unfortunately, we allowed the graffiti to build up over time. And so these are big jobs. And once you get the graffiti off and it looks pristine, we're hoping that people will keep it that way. Yes, we've had to go back multiple times. As soon as we leave, somebody comes in and puts another little thing here or there. Well, this part here did not. This is a spillway. They cut the rocks open to let the water spill out during flood season. So there were no petroglyphs on these panels here, but it's still ugly. I mean, if you go there to see nature, and this is just as ugly as ugly. So
Yellow snot on it, spray it off. It doesn't coat it with something.
Yeah, that's the protected.
let's see. Okay, and they did just scribble a lot, and it's not just writing names or whatever. There's just a lot of scribbles. And we did have quite a group, and you see the garden hose coming down, going over to the spray painter or spray washer. David is on the other side, still washing off everything while we're over here trying to get the elephant snot on it and soften it. You have to leave it for at least 15 minutes to soften the paint. And like I said, sometimes we've had to redo the process 2 and even 3 times. And some of it doesn't actually come off. Okay, well, you saw some of the before. Let's see what the before and afters look like.
Oh my goodness.
That was a big, hard job, and we totally cleaned everything off. And this ugly thing, it all came. If you see right here, there is a little remnants, and I don't know why it looks black, but because the paint was white. But we didn't get everything, but we got enough of it off that you don't see it. And people that come up here to see the waterfalls, they now can see the waterfalls in its beauty. And you can see that there is a little remnants of some of the paint. that is so minor that you can overlook it. You can walk right by it and never see it if you don't know it's there and looking for it. Some,
Amazing. Good, it is coming on.
yeah. Most of these come off pretty good. I don't know what they were writing on there, but it's now gone. What this is all about, I don't know.
Their own petroglyphs.
When we washed it off, some of the water kind of puddled up or whatever, and there's a little bit of the paint left, but I think within time it'll just wash off by nature. But again, it isn't that offensive. If you don't know to look for it, you could walk right by it. Now this one was a panel that was, for some reason, this green paint was just, we had a very hard time getting that green paint off. But we got most of it. And again, around the corner from that same panel, why people take cans of paint out, and they knew they were going to do this. They went down and bought different colors of paint to specifically go out. It was not an accident. This is outside of Woodruff, which is outside of Holbrook.
Oh.
And you can, yeah,
Drake and Lynn, somebody's got to know who Drake is.
yeah.
But, all Drake and Lynn have to do is say, well, we didn't do that.
Yeah.
Somebody else did it,
Let me see your fingers. It's blue spray paint, embedded paint.
Well, you can see there's some of the black didn't come off here. But again, it's, if you're not looking for it, you could walk right by it and never see it. And you can see around the corner, here's somebody cleaning off this panel, and here's what it looked like, the before and after. You see the black right here. There's little remnants of it. We just,
How far from Holbrook is Woodruff?
about 10 miles. Oh, about to the turnoff, and then it's another 5 miles to the town of Woodruff. Let's see, Darlene, did you admit her?
I did.
Well, I just admitted her again. Again,
Wow.
and unfortunately, some of this, the spray was so intense to get the paint off. It did take some of the coloration of the rocks off. But since there's no petroglyphs or anything, it's didn't damage anything of value. It's
Cleanups, where did you damage the petroglyphs? Yeah.
yes. Well, that was one of the reasons that I was worried about it, and I got into photography and I started
Preserving.
trying to preserve it because I've found areas that they've stolen some of the petroglyphs, and which is another talk. And you can see the guys taking care of the water up here, sitting on the bed of the pickup.
Did you have gravity feed there?
Yes. But again, we had a large group, and we were able to get most of the petroglyphs, I mean, the graffiti off all the way to the end. Most of the people stayed pretty much to the end. We were there about 4 hours or so. We did a,
They have people that,
Yeah.
think it's 10 people or 5 people, they'd still be there.
well, with that such a large group, we had people coming and going.
That one
Yeah,
piece of
exactly.
paper.
Well, he had, I don't know how many gallons in that great big one. Well, we actually brought two of them because, but we only used about half of one of those containers. So it's
500 gallons.
like that. And you can see um, there's even paint down here, and they put paint on these rocks here. I mean, we got it all. We almost got the whole thing.
Kids with kids paint. But people don't even know it's going down
And
here.
I took the pictures when we cleaned them off, and then I had to come back a day or so later to come back at the same time of day.
Oh,
So
yeah.
when I took the after pictures, they would match up with the before pictures. No, the graffiti didn't. It came back about a week
Wasn't the weekend.
later. But it was a small picture, and David was able to go over there just by himself, and just one man was. He took it off, and it's pristine again. If people see that we're going to keep it pristine, they'll not. One graffiti looks terrible, but one graffiti in a whole panel of others, nobody will ever notice. But so we're going back and taking it off as quickly as possible, so it doesn't build up like this. I mean, this graffiti is probably some of it 10, 20 years old. You know, it's yeah. But you can see that this FTP is pretty much gone, but the stuff behind it that's just kind of hard to see was harder to get off.
The paint was probably better with older paint.
For some reason, it's older or whatever. I don't know the differences, but
Are they the Indians, young Indians, the ones who are doing this, or do they know it?
no. Some of them are out of state people.
Scared?
Yeah. Well, people from California and maybe some of the other big cities, graffiti is part of their neighborhood. So they come and put the, well,
I don't even know why they put it up there. You can't read what it says.
yeah. Look at it. These are just so ugly. Multiple colors and yeah. I don't.
Buildings, beautiful.
The murals, yeah, and what's that one artist? He has a millionaire.
Well, when it's done nicely as a mural,
Yeah.
that's art. This is ugly graffiti.
Yeah.
And when you go out to nature to walk your dog, to do whatever you're gonna do, who wants to walk in a bunch of ugly graffiti? But and you can see they just scribbled. But we didn't quite get all of it. You can see it's so minor that again you can just walk by some of it and not. And I think nature will take care of what we leave. And they even go behind the bushes to put their. Okay, well, that's pretty much. So we now move to Canyonito. Now here I took some time and tried to take pictures of as we did the work. It was in a place that the sun didn't get on it. And so I could have taken some before and after, but I did do some before and after, but I didn't go back and get the same lighting.
Yeah.
So this is probably the ugliest part of it. Yes, and you can see it says pops right here. This is way up. They put a bullseye to shoot at. Livermore, California, 2010. So this has been here for 12 to 13 years. And it just hasn't degraded on its own.
Yeah, no.
Let me go back. But some of it is down here under this underhang, so it really doesn't get rained on or sunshine on it to weather it away. So the graffiti down here will last a lot longer. This is up where the sun does shine on it and the rain. And
Well, I want to know how to get up there.
well, that was surprising. Looking at this, you don't have a perspective how big some of it is. This right here is a ledge, and it goes back maybe 10 feet. In this picture, you can't see the depth. But some of this is just, and they've gone over it with multiple colors. They put 2010 in black and put white on it. And they carried multiple paint colors down there. I mean, they went to do graffiti. What was so interesting that they had to write pops on there? I have no idea. And so we washed this area down here. The first time we did it, it didn't come off. And so they moved over and was cleaning off pops right here. And when they got done, we went back and rewashed this a second time to get it all off. And you can see the overhang, and you can see the little ledge that you would stand on. It says 2010 right here. And the Livermore, California is up here. And here we are, the second go around, putting more elephant snot on it. Well, this is a beautiful place. People come here to picnic, and they've had little bonfires and places, that you can picnic or camp or whatever. Now, this does show some of the scale. I mean, this is large. And David has already put the elephant snot on there, and it's kind of blurring out. And you can actually see the scale of it, the size.
How much elephant snot does it take to do all this?
Well, every job is different. You saw some of those panels were just covered with paint, and some of them are just names that take very little. But yeah, see, he's standing on that ledge. This ladder is 20 feet tall, and so he's up over 20 feet here washing this off.
Did it paint it on with a paintbrush or something?
I'm sure it was spray paint.
No, the elephants.
Oh, the elephant snot? Yes. Anything will put it on, paint brushes, little scrub brushes. It's kind of a gel, so it doesn't run off. When you put it on, it stays right where you put it.
Where do you purchase it at?
There's different places online. There's different companies that make it. Certain companies, their product works better than others. It's just a trial and error. David's been buying it. And you can see he's washing these off. This is probably the second go around. And the second time seems to have got it all. And then he comes down and he's tired, so somebody else comes up to get this 2010 off. And so while this guy went up and spelled David and gave him a break, And here you see the before and after. Unfortunately, this picture is in the sunlight, and so it looks a little bit different, but the pops is totally gone. The 2010 is totally gone. You can see this little area right here shows the bullseye was right here. This rock was whatever that said, and the DSL was right in here. We totally cleaned it off. Anybody that can go down there and walk through the area, and if they didn't know it was ever there, they would not guess that it's. And so we then had to move to the other side. Now, so anyway, this isn't just you go out and with a paintbrush and paint on some elephant snot. You have to climb all over the place. You can see the power washer right here, or at least the hose going to the power washer. But no, trying to get to these things was difficult. And they wrote Amen. A is way off to the side, M, and then EN is way off to the right. But you can see the size of it. And some of these we've had to spray off multiple times. And here's David doing his power wash. And we had to stay on this side of the creek with the power washer, and the hose goes down through the water and up to David. We've got an extended hose to get the power washer over. And you can see here's the A.
Some of these sites are, you think that would discourage them from doing it.
Yeah. Well, here's the A, M, and then the EN is off to the side, and I have no idea exactly what Amen was supposed to mean. Possibly they mean it's 2,000 years ago this was the level or whatever. I don't know what they had in mind, but it's gone now. This is the second time, and you can see how much paint is still there on the second cleaning and washing it all off. And you can see as the water drips down, it stains the rocks down here. So we have to go pressure washer this off too. And this is after the third time. And you can see there's just a little outline, but again, I think nature will take care of what we left.
So what chemicals are in this stuff?
I
don't know.
It works.
It works.
Yeah, but they're spraying it off and all that's running down into that creek. So what's drinking out of that creek further down the line?
Yeah.
Cow, deer.
Okay, now here is 5 Mile. This is where we started. And like I said, I thought it was probably going to be just a one-time deal. We'll go down and clean it up and that'll be the end of it. But once we got started, we found that there's other areas that had the graffiti. And so this one-time little project has turned into a big deal for us now. Here, Robert Mark and Evelyn Billows came down and showed us what the elephant snot looks like and how to apply it. Here, he had a little portable sprayer that really did not work. But this was on a Zoom meeting, and you can see Evelyn Billows up here in the corner. She was showing me some of the pictures that they took. of them cleaning up. And Ramsey and I, when we first got started, there was a lot of trash that needed to be hauled off. Ramsey and I worked on the litter while the rest of the group worked on the graffiti. There were 3 box springs that were overgrown with weeds and willows. They just grew up through the box springs, and I had to cut them in 4 pieces to be able to pry them off the ground to carry them off. People carried mattresses down there and caught them on fire, box springs, all kinds of other stuff. I mean, it was years worth of litter that we were cleaning up. Ramsey and I also came back with magnets, and we picked up several pounds of nails out of the parking area from where they had burned pallets. And so anyway, when we got done cutting up the box springs, we went over and helped out with the graffiti. I didn't get very many pictures of the graffiti. This is just, why would they do this?
Is this a different area?
No, this is all the same place. Like I said, we've cleaned this area off a couple of times. And somebody gave me some of these pictures because I didn't take pictures of the graffiti as such before we got started. And this shows what we were going through. We didn't just walk up and put a little elephant snot on there.
That was a hard place to get to.
Yeah, right up here is some of the graffiti that we had to get off. I mean, this was a hard job. I asked Ramsey to take some pictures of us so that I'd have something to show. And here we are. The power washer is right there. We had to carry the water up the ladder in 5-gallon buckets.
Wow.
And then we'd fill up this 5-gallon bucket that would bring the water down to the pressure washer. And then David was climbing up and washing it off. And again, the amount of graffiti that's on the walls and where it is, it was just ugly. And it's not all easy to get to. And this is most of the group that was cleaning up here. Some came and left, but these are the remaining group. Ramsey took the pictures, so he's not in this picture. And when everybody left, we had a pickup load of all the box springs and other litter that we picked up. And I told David, come down here. I want to show you our next project.
Oh, so that's the next project.
And we went down and looked at this, and you can see this is a flat area. They wrote stuff on here that somebody didn't like what was here, so they came back and spray painted their names off. Trump 2020, I guess. No, here's some petroglyphs. Most of them they missed with their paint, but they're side by side to the petroglyphs. A footprint here, a footprint there, deer tracks. This footprint is chasing a deer or an antelope, and you can see the tracks. This is where they built fires, and it just disintegrated the rock.
What kind of rock is it?
Sandstone.
Just sandstone?
Yeah.
So it's very soft.
It's soft, and by superheating the sandstone, the surface of it chipped away. Whether they built it on some petroglyphs, I'm not real sure, but it's gone now.
You almost need to take those panels up.
Yeah.
Because they'll eventually.
And as you can see back over here on, this is the canyon in the sun. There's some graffiti here that you can see. They came back and painted over some names or whatever. They didn't want their name on there. Somebody took offense to it. But evidently there was a lot of offensive stuff here, and somebody came and just painted the whole rock red.
Have you guys actually?
We cleaned all of this off. I don't have after pictures of all of this, but it's gone. It's all gone. And the ugliness of it. Again, here's another place they built a fire. And Ramsey and I did take magnets and go around and cleaned up all of the nails that were in the pallets that they were burning. Most of this is just kids. We are legends. Yeah, they are. And after we got everything cleaned up, a week or so later, this showed up. It's like 16 feet across this whole area. So David called the owners and said, what are we going to do? Well, this is Aztec cattle and land owned, but they leased the land to a local rancher. And he said, put a padlock on it. When we'll open it back up later, but for now, let's just put a padlock on it. And if you want to go here and keep it graffiti free, we'll take the padlock off. If it gets the graffiti back on it, the padlock goes back on. It's on right now. I'm not sure when we're going to take it off, but
Never ending.
one of the problems is, now here's Schoens Dam. This is our next project. It's scheduled for October 28th. And I made these posters. We're gonna put out the word to get help to do our next clean out. And this is what we're going to be cleaning up. Now this is quite large. It's again way up on the side of the cliff.
Is it white like that?
Most of the time the white did come off quite easily. Somebody thinks they're an artist. A few names here and there. This area is going to be difficult because the graffiti is spread over a very large area. And so we're going to have to carry the water and the power washer long distances to do a little cleanup here and then move to another spot. Some more just very small amounts. This won't take much elephant snot, but it's a long ways from the other places. So we've got to carry the equipment over, and this is up high that we're going to have to climb up or use ladders to get to it.
Oh my goodness.
Somebody with an imagination.
Go to park. There's
Now,
one on the way to Emerald.
Oh, yeah, they do those. They have those there.
well, this is when we went there Sunday, this was brand new. I brought a rock back. They were there within probably the last 2 weeks. This is brand new.
Even after the padlock?
No. This is Schoens Dam. This is our future project next month. But this is brand new. We didn't even know about this because it didn't exist 30 days ago. But no, they brought up several different colors. Spray painted all over the place. You can see the paint down here on the grass and see paint on the cactus. It was something brand new. It's just new, just happened. And so that is my talk on graffiti.
Where is the one that's coming up at?
Schoens Dam,
Yeah,
it's halfway between Taylor and Shumway.
I've heard of them.
It's halfway to Sholo,
Okay.
close to Taylor.
Is that in that valley that's just after you leave Taylor? Is that
Yeah,
correct?
yes, it drops down into a little,
Unstable homes and so forth. And
yeah, well, the dam was built for floodwater.
So the dam is down in that area.
It's off to the west. The highway will go down and there's a little bridge. You can't really see it as a bridge anymore, but you'll see all the trees and stuff, and there's a little. Yes, I'll have my sign up.
Trying to get me to see that. Okay.
So
The flyer.
what's that?
The flyer.
Okay,
On Facebook.
right. Yeah, we've got a month to get the word out. No, not. I didn't put a phone number on it, but we'll probably do it. But again, like I said, we'll have it on Facebook and take it to the Chamber of Commerce and any place where we can get some exposure. And that's one of the reasons that I'm giving this talk right now, is to drum up some business, get some participants. Anybody that sees what we're doing wants to offer to help. So.
Or it's for people like you.
So.
if I can find out where it's at in the relation to Holbrook.
Oh, that's.
Woodruff? Yeah, it's halfway to, well, a little more than halfway to Holbrook.
Find out.
On 377?
77.
77.
What about the one?
There's
Out of Snowflake, you go straight and then 77
Right.
goes like that over the whole. It's not on 277 or 377.
yeah, you
On that area there, before you get into Holbrook or after?
or you can get on your phone on maps, and Woodruff is a little tiny farming community.
77 is going to Holbrook from
Yeah.
Snowflake.
Yes,
Now, what's the one we have? It's
We got
3,000.
yeah, that's a little
So
cut
right,
off.
Holbrook and straight, coming out of Holbrook to
Yeah,
Snowflake
don't
and
turn,
go on there.
don't turn right. Yeah.
Well, do we have anybody on Zoom that would like to ask questions?
This program be given to the local schools of all the local towns and schools by Darlene. Darlene wants to
Yes.
know.
Well, I made up a PDF of Schoens Dam, Woodruff Dam. And of course, I'm going to be putting it on YouTube.
School kids would love to do that kind of stuff.
Right.
High school kids that did some of it.
Oh, no, not our kids.
Who do you think all those numbers, what those numbers meant that were on there? That's probably football.
Well,
Player numbers.
You may want to contact Dawn.
yes. Yeah, Darlene asked about the PDF that I made already. This is a talk that I can go to Holbrook or whatever and repeat this. But, well, if we don't have any more questions, I'll go ahead and end the meeting. And I want to thank everybody that has joined and listened in, and hopefully we can get some more help.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.